first place. And in 1981, we had dropped all the way to 95th place. In 2022, we improved to 34th place, although we still have a long way to go to get back to our first place ranking. How does a nation go from being in first place to 34th in just a little over a century? The answer can be summed up in 2 words: fast food. Americans consume about 5 billion hamburgers and 4.5 billion pounds of French fries a year. In 1970, Americans spent approximately $6 billion on fast food. That figure rose to $120 billion in 2000. And in 2020, Americans spent nearly $281.6 billion on fast food. We spend more money on fast food than we do on personal computers, computer software, new cars, and higher education combined. We also spend more on fast food than on all magazines, books, movies, newspapers, DVDs, and recorded music combined. The reason fast food has risen in popularity so dramatically is simple. Our fast pace of life almost demands it. People feel they are too busy to prepare traditional meals, and they see fast food meals as time-saving alternatives. In addition, many times it costs more per serving to prepare a traditional meal than to purchase a single serving at a fast food restaurant. This is because most of us do not routinely prepare home-cooked meals, and so we may waste much of the food we bring home from the market. In our culture, advertisements constantly bombard us and often fuel our desire for fast food. Incentives are offered to children in the form of toys included with a meal and playgrounds just outside the restaurant. Furthermore, a fast food restaurant is usually never more than a mile or 2 away. The end result is that good nutrition is sacrificed to convenience, cost, and accessibility. Fast food is designed to appeal to these 4 senses: sight, smell, taste, and touch, or texture. One of the primary ways of adding both taste and texture to food is to add fat. One of the key ways of adding taste to food is to add sugar. Foods that have a glaze or a glow to them, from donuts to cake icing, are foods that have had a layer of fat added to them. In addition to having virtually no nutritional value, fast foods tend to be high in salt and low in fiber. Eating a diet high in salt, low in fiber, very high in fat and sugar, and virtually void of nutrients is not the way Jesus ate. The value of a primitive diet. Would we really be healthier if we ate a more primitive diet, the sort of diet that Jesus ate? Medical science says that we would. Nearly a century ago, Dr. Weston A. Price reported a study that is still valid and still amazing. Dr. Price, a dentist, studied primitive people who were isolated from Western civilization, including people in Switzerland and Scotland who lived in villages and towns that were isolated from their nation's mainstream societies. Some of the cultures he studied consumed diets that included fish, seafood, and wild game. Other cultures had diets that included the meat and dairy products of domesticated animals. Some cultures had diets that included fruits, grains, legumes, and vegetables. Other primitive groups consumed almost no plant foods. Some primitive cultures consumed foods that were eaten raw. Others consumed mostly cooked foods. All of the cultures, however, had diets that shared certain characteristics. There were no refined, devitalized foods such as white sugar or white flour, no pasteurized or homogenized milk, no canned foods, and no hydrogenated or refined vegetable oils. All of the diets did include some animal products, and all did include salt. These isolated groups of people preserved their food using salt, fermentation, and drying methods, all of which maintained the food's high nutritional value. In all, Dr. Price investigated some 17 cultures, including Eskimos in Alaska, African tribes, Australian Aborigines, traditional American Indians, peoples of the South Sea Islands, those living in remote Swiss villages, and those living on remote islands off the coast of Scotland. Dr. Price analyzed the diets of these isolated groups of people and then compared them to the American diet of his day. Keep in mind that he conducted his research in the 1930s and 1940s, when the nutritional value of the American diet was actually much higher than it is now. Here's what Dr. Price found.